We're gonna do the Flynn route and we're going! Hello, friends! This is Flynn! We're doing it! I open my eyes blearily, waking up to the sound of something pounding in the distance. I stare at the ceiling a moment, then abruptly prop myself up on my elbows, looking around, confused. Where the hell? Oh yeah, Flynn's room. I'd fallen asleep on Flynn's bed, naked, after I'd taken a shower. Turns out that lizards don't have dryers, so I was left to air dry. I was tired, so Flynn had me lay out on his bed and on a few towels, and that's where I am right now. Guess I fell asleep. Again, the pounding. I look over to my right and see Flynn curled up, his back facing me. I think he's naked as well for a moment. Then I see he's got boxer briefs on, the black color blending in with his skin. Fucking racist. Nah. I reach over to poke the rough skin on his scaly back. The frills on his back of his neck flare out for a second, then lay back down. I almost do it again, but Flynn's grumpy and annoyed as hell tone stops me. What? I clear my throat. Sorry, but it sounds like I don't have to say it because the pounding starts up again, echoing up the hallway. What the fuck? Flynn pushes himself up into a sitting position, squinting at the hallway through the door. What time is it? Flynn rolls off the bed and starts putting on a shirt. I grab my phone, glad to see that it's still at half charge. It's 9. At the same time, I notice that I have texts, several of them, from Leo. Shit. What? Flynn hops around the room as he tries to pull on some pants. My eyes scan over the text, realizing who it likely is that is not knocking on the door. The message started about 2 hours ago. Hey, I was at the motel and you aren't there. Jenna says she doesn't know where you are either. She says you... Oh shit, I should be reading them in his voice, shouldn't I? She says you didn't spend the night there. You and Flynn are the only ones not answering my messages. Are you at his house? Hello? I feel my stomach go into a knot. Fuck. What? Flynn whirls on me, annoyed, now fully dressed. The knocking has stopped, but I'm still uneasy about what I've just found out. I think it's Leo. What? This time Flynn sounds panicked. He's been texting me all morning. He thinks I'm here now. I show Flynn my screen. He barely looks at it. He's got his arms folded, his mind clearly racing. You know he can't find out that I spent the night here. Why can't he? What the fuck is this? Oh, this is your favorite part of Flynn's route? Oh, Mao is looking forward to this. Let's get this going for Chairman Mao. I tried to keep my voice under control. I know. Yeah, we both know. Things are basically over between Leo and I, but that doesn't change the fact that this will bring up all kinds of problems in our little friend group. Flynn paces around a few seconds and turns back to me. Well, he's gone now. I can just get Carl to say that you spent the night at his... He already texted Carl. Shit! Flynn groans and hangs back his head. Well, did he ask him if you spent the night there? No, just that he didn't know where I am. At least that's what he said in the text. I'll just tell him I don't know and Carl can say you were there. I don't think Carl would have told... Flynn suddenly reaches out, grabbing my shoulder and throwing me sideways onto the bed. I stare at him, wide-eyed, but he's not looking at me. Instead, he's staring at the window behind me. What? He throws his hand out in my face, silencing me. Flynn moves to the window, and that's when I notice a big shadow shifting around there. I scrambled to the other side of the bed, hard hammering in my chest. Did he see me? The curtain is covering most of the window, but the foot-long gap at the end is just enough to look in. Flynn starts pantomiming in front of the window, shrugging his shoulders, shaking his head. Finally, he drops his arm with a sigh and leans in to crack the window open. The hell are you doing? Wait. What the hell are doing? Why the hell didn't you answer your door? Leo's voice is angry. Honestly, a lot more angry than I would have expected despite the situation. I just woke up. I was knocked in for like 5 fucking minutes. I'm a heavy sleeper. You're dressed and everything. I just got dressed. Most people don't go peeking into windows when they don't get an answer, though. Flynn glares through the window. I quietly roll off the bed so I can hide better, even if I'm not in view of the window from here. Listen, I'm just looking for Chase. Have you seen him? No. Flynn shifts his position a bit in my direction, as if trying to block Leo's view. Looking for something? Yeah, Chase. Well, he ain't here. Why would he be? He stayed behind with you at the party, didn't he? Yep, then ran off to do some project or something. There's a long pause. What? What? Puchika, can I come in for a sec? I need a drink. What? Go back to your house, man! You saying you don't want me to come in? Flynn sighs loudly, rubbing his eyes. I'm saying I'm tired. It's 10 in the fucking morning. It's 9, but yeah, sometimes I stay up late. Why? Flynn lowers his hands from his eyes and glares out at Leo. Listen, I'm not really in the mood for this right now. You're acting a little crazy right now, too. Listen, I'll be on my way. If I can just come in for a bit, I'm fucking burning up. So he called him the same endearing nickname as fucking who you called us. Oh, you son of a bitch! Oh, you son of a bitch! I see Flynn push his forehead against the glass, eyes closed, frustration written all over his face. Alright, a glass of water, then get out so I can go back to sleep. Fine. With that, Flynn closes the window, watching it for a while before sighing loudly again. Alright, stay here. Got it. If he knows you're here, we both know he'll kill us both. Yeah. Alright, if for whatever reason he comes back here, hide under the fucking bed if you have to. With that, Flynn turns and heads out the door into the hallway. Did you close the door behind you? Might be a good fucking idea. That last thing he said has me feeling like shit. Sneaking around behind Leo's back like this is wrong. Even if I know telling him about it would be worse. Is it my fault that Leo can't get over our relationship? I have the right to do what I want, right? I sigh and press my forehead under the bed. Much Flynn had pushed his head... much like Flynn had pushed his head against the window. Staring at my crotch, that's when I realize I'm still naked! Oh, Jesus, I look up listening. I hear the front door open, followed by some distant mumbling from Leo. If I sneak to the bathroom right now, I can grab my clothes. Oh, shit! You left your clothes in the bathroom! Oh, no! Dude! Maybe stay there until Leo leaves. At least that way it won't look as bad if he finds me for whatever he... No! I get up and pad quietly into the... No! No! This is bad! This is very bad! I can hear, some clinking around the kitchen, the murmur of some voices coming from the kitchen. The kitchen is practically out of sight from the hall. Sight, also the wrong sight. We did. So this is the living room. I stand there for a moment longer, tail switching as I contemplate this is a good idea or not. Then when I hear Leo's voice coming from the kitchen area again, I quickly tiptoe a short distance to the bathroom. Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Despite not having coming close at all to being caught, my heart still hammers in my chest. The voice continued to mumble in the kitchen as I start looking around for my clothes. They're folded neatly on the counter, and I quickly snatch them up. Lock the door! Lock the door, man! For sure wouldn't smell on you. I catch a few words from Leo that makes my ears perk. Something about smell. Leo smells a lot of things. He has a canine nose. My eyes widen. Did he smell me on Flynn? Pretty sure Flynn hasn't showered since what we did yesterday. Oh God! My heart rate picks up against the feel my knees wanted to give out. Where the fuck are you going? This time of year, I do hear Flynn, and I know exactly what it means. The only problem is that I'm still naked in the fucking bathroom. Why aren't you getting dressed? Should I lock the door? And Leo would definitely know someone's here, and that is probably me. Well, why don't you scream fuck out of the gut? Shit. I mouth the word. Okay. Knowing Leo would hear it if I said it now. I hear heavy footsteps coming up the hall. I definitely can't go back in the room and hide under the bed now. I don't keep coming towards the bathroom, though. The movements become somewhat muffled again as they turn into Flynn's room. fucking get dressed, you dumb cunt! This is fucking crazy, Leo. If Leo heard Flynn, he didn't say anything. I anticipate the sounds of Leo ripping up Flynn's room, but I guess he isn't that far gone, because things go quiet again. And there's some pacing around, along with heavy breathing. Why are you not doing anything? You realize I could call the cops, right? I hear the closet door open. Fucking! You better not be standing there fucking naked right now, because you could just... I look around desperately, realizing that I don't have much time. The first thing I see is a shower curtain in the bathtub. It's a see-through blue color, so there's no way I can stand behind it and not be seen. I hear shifting around the other room again, and their bickering becomes more clear as they step back into the hall. Panicking, practically on with fear, I crouch down to pull open a cupboard and under the sink. Amazingly, there are only a few bottles of cleaning solutions, leaving plenty of room for me to squeeze in. I hope you brought your clothes with you, preferably on your body. Oh my god! As quietly as I can, I crawl into the opening. Reaching back out, I pull the door closed, setting my other hand against it so that it won't spring shut. Everything goes dark and their voices become muffled once again. I back up against the very back of the enclosure and hugging my knees as I try to keep my breathing quiet. He's gonna have a panic attack, I bet. It's actually a little while before they come into the bathroom, and I almost jump as Leo's voice booms in the small space. His smell is all over your fucking house. Then he should probably shower more. There's a small silence, and I imagine that Leo gave him a look that shattered any surely confidence he might have had. Like I said, he was here for like an hour yesterday. And why didn't you fucking tell me that earlier? Because I knew you'd be acting like this. Seriously. Their footsteps shift again in time with their voices muffling. I dare to let out a small sigh of relief. I can still hear them arguing, but I really don't care enough. No! Don't follow them! Fucking no! You stupid, possessed bitch! Why do I have to choose this? Well, I would crowdsource this fucking choice, but I don't fucking have one! Follow them. Follow them. Follow them. Follow them. I would like 1 cheese pizza, please. Follow them, motherfucker, follow them! You pass through the cupboard door into the bathroom. You follow the voices down the hall into the kitchen. Leo was on his way to the door. You could have fucking rolled it down the door. God damn it! Oh, you could have just waited! He stops in front of it, turning back around to Flynn, who's following close behind. You're really starting to piss me off, Flynn. And you're really starting to freak me out, Leo. All of that still doesn't explain why his smell is all over you. Flynn works his jaw for a moment, eyes narrowed. We roughhouse a little bit by the mine. By the mine. You know how we get sometimes. It was really hot. Leo was shaking his head like he's tired of listening to what Flynn has to say. Like he's tired of everything. And then to have it mixed with that smell. Flynn throws his hands up, exasperated. I jerked off later. Sorry, but this really ain't any of your business. You know what kind of fucking is since I planned out this entire fucking thing. He's starting to lose his temper again. You know this isn't like Leo at all. Calm down! Jesus! Maybe he went off to do more research or whatever. Said he wasn't done at the mine. The mine. He's not listening anymore. He's looking to the side, staring at the wall, hackles raised. Listen, I'll drive around town real quick to see if I can find it before work, alright? Flynn, you know you ruined this whole thing for me, right? Thing for you? What are you talking about? I'll be fucking damned if I let you do it again. The anger and spite on Leo's face is scaring Flynn. Leo, what's going on? Leo still isn't listening. The wolf turns sharply away, yanking open the door. Leo, Flynn reaches out, resting a hand on Leo's shoulder. But at that moment, the wolf throws an elbow back into Flynn so hard the lizard is sent stumbling back several steps before falling to his knees. What the fuck? Why is this your favorite part, guys? Flynn lets out a hoarse groan, but Leo ignores it, slamming the door shut on his way out. Flynn stays like that, doubled over on the carpet, making soft rasping noises before his breathing finally comes under his control. He stays like that there a while longer, absorbing what just happened, knowing that Leo isn't himself either. He also regrets doing anything with Chase. Finally, he looks up right at you. You decide to leave. There's really no point to try to reason with him. What? The fucking narration is weird. The narration is really weird, and this is not a normal... Like, it's not this dark at 9 in the morning. Something is happening, and something is not right. It's been a while since you've been out alone like this. Feels good not being attached. Something about that lizard, Flynn, is helping this happen. You'll have to deal with him later. Your Pocket Fox, thank you for the follow, and hello, Stephanie. As you continue to walk down the dirt road, you see him. It takes a while at first because he's so far away. But then you see that thick tail waving back and forth as he approaches you. Can he hear you? Can he see you? Probably. It's been a long time since you were attached. But the feelings, the thoughts, you can remember it like it was yesterday. The new one is better, a lot more quiet. At least you made him quiet. It was easier to do that with it was easier to do than with this one. He keeps walking towards you, and you start to wonder if you should turn back. You always snap back eventually. Why not let this play out? Let's see how far this will go. Now that you're this close, you can see water dripping off his body, even after all those years. Finally, you can make out his face. Angry, no, furious, finally seeing you again. He doesn't like what you did, and who can blame him? He starts to run towards you. You finally stop walking, waiting. He's on you in a second, lunging, blunt claws and sharp teeth bared. I keep wondering if I should come out myself. The last time I heard any voices was like almost 5 minutes ago. Still, I realize that they could both be outside or something. And I don't want to come running out if Leo decides to come back in. So I wait, starting to feel sweaty in the cramped position, my nose twitching from the strong chemical smells. Wait, what the fuck? Hold on a minute. What? Hold on, wait a fucking minute. Are we back in the fucking bathroom again? I'll probably have to take another shower. After another few minutes, I hear soft padding up the hallway. I know it's Flynn, but I wait. Another few seconds of silence goes by before Flynn finally speaks. He's gone. What the fuck? Wait, whoa! No wonder they didn't. Hold on. What? Wait, what the fuck are you talking about? What? Huh? Something left the bathroom. What left the bathroom? Who are we thinking about there? So how are we gonna... So how are we gonna explain to Leo that Carl just forgot I was there? I pull my shirt over my head, feeling kind of gross putting on my musky shirt. Flynn stands in front of his dresser's mirror, using a pair of tweezers to pull at flaking skin. Carl forgets everything, especially when he gets high, which is all the time. Flynn's been acting kind of distant after the whole Leo incident. It's not hard to imagine why. I'm feeling the same way. The person the thing met who was dripping wet was Sydney's ghost, furious to see his killer. Meow! Why are you doing this to me, meow? Leo almost probably finding out, had put a damper on our stupid excursions. It really put into perspective how immature we were being. Alright, so I'll say I spent the night at Carl's, then left in the morning to do some filming, then came back. Flynn told me to text all this to Carl before I go over there. The only response I'd gotten so far was a short, "What?" We don't got any other choices. Guess not. And Chase, we probably shouldn't do this anymore. Yeah, I know. Flynn glances at me through the mirror, then returns to picking at his skin. He clears his throat. I know this is kind of gross, but it's fine. We all got our gross things to deal with. Ain't going to work looking like I got snowed on. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't ever really get that bad, but... Flynn breaks off awkwardly as he goes back to his grooming. It's weird seeing him this off, but again, it's not like it's unwarranted. I sit on the edge of the bed, texting Carl again to try to get him to at least partially understand what the plan is. After a couple of minutes, Flynn clears his throat again. Listen, Chase, you ever feel a little bit like not yourself? I look up and see that the lizard is looking at me through the mirror again. He quickly turns his attention back to his picking. I don't know, like you're not fully in control of what you do? I frown. Is Flynn trying to get at something? Explain his own actions? Does he feel like he wasn't in control of what happened between us? No, at least I don't think so. Flynn finally puts down the tweezers and turns to me, leaning his rear against the dresser. So you never felt like you're not yourself? Though I'm not totally sure as to what Flynn is getting at, I decide to humor him and think, I guess after what happened when we were kids, I didn't feel right. After Sydney? Yeah. I tried to avoid talking about it directly, but Flynn doesn't seem to be bothered right now. You probably remember that I saw a therapist after because I felt so different and it scared me. Flynn nods. Did they figure it out? Kind of. If I remember right, they said it was a dissociative thing. What's that? Like, sometimes when something really traumatic happens, your mind sort of distances you from yourself to protect you. I shrug. Something like that. I'm not very good at psych stuff. I almost tell Flynn to ask Jenna, but of course he can't. So did they fix it? Not really, but I got used to it, I guess. It was like the new me. And you're okay with that? I shrug again. My therapist said that really traumatic things can change the way your brain works forever. You just learn to live with it. That's my fucking life in a nutshell, buddy. That doesn't sound good. No, but it's a part of life. I think we all changed. Yeah. I don't go into detail about how it got worse over time, the whole not feeling like myself. How I felt more and more like my personality was bleeding away, and I was a completely different person now than I was 10 years ago. Because in the back of my mind, I just wonder if that's what it's like to grow up. They become less like you were as a kid, happy, carefree, complete douchebag, and turn into a hollow shell of that. I could still feel Flynn looking at me, so I decided to bring up something else just as uncomfortable since we were already there. So, when are you planning on talking to TJ? Flynn's silent for only a second. Saturday at the end of your trip. I'm not sure if that's the best idea. Doesn't leave much time to make amends if things turn sour, which they most likely will. But then I guess that means we'll easily be able to just leave as soon as it's over. Okay. Flynn's still looking at me, so I abruptly stand up, putting my phone back into my pocket. Anyway, you ready to go? I don't want to make you late for work. Sure. Flynn finally straightens up, walking across the room to grab his keys. I'm glad to have somewhere to go now. I'm glad just to have somewhere to go now. Flynn feeling off like this is one of the most awkward experiences I've ever had. Probably because he's usually so good at making things not awkward. So with that, Flynn takes me to Carl's house. Oh, fuck me. I sit quietly next to Carl on the couch as he plays his video games. Fucking hair, man. It's some kind of first-person shooter that I've never seen before. You know, I'm not all that into shooters, but this one's pretty good. Yeah? I try to act interested as I browse through my phone. I already texted Leo apologizing and telling him that my phone had died. It's weird how quickly this lie has gotten out of control. I'm making things up as I go at this point, and I'm amazed how easy it is. Leo hasn't responded, and I doubt he believes any of it. It still gives both of us room to pretend, though. Yeah, man, it's the sci-fi elements. I could never play one of those World War shooters. Same. He's playing Halo. Carl clicks around with the controller for a while longer. You alright? I sigh loudly, finally tearing my eyes away from my phone. Yeah, I'm good. 'Cause you don't seem good. I don't respond to that, instead choosing to zone out to whatever's happening on the screen. What's with this whole story anyway, about you spending the night or whatever? I debate whether it's worth telling Carl or not. He'd go along with it either way, but keeping all the secrets is starting to make me feel sick. Well, I spent the night at Flynn's. Leo found out I wasn't at the motel, and he came looking for me. Oh shit, did you and Flynn, I let the silence hang for a while. Carl snorts. Wow. Come on, Carl. No, I don't mind. Just seems kind of weird. How so? I feel myself getting defensive. Not really in the mood to be judged by Carl. Yeah, he's cool and everything, but his life, let alone his sex life, doesn't exactly put him in a position to do so. Well, you just barely got out here like 5 days ago, and already... I sigh. You know how Flynn is. Yeah, I do. So you shouldn't be surprised. But I mean, we've known him since we were like kids. Just feels a little bit... Carl, I'm not really in the mood right now. Carl goes quiet for a few more minutes, then the clicking buttons on the controller are the only sound. Doesn't last long, though. You know, I saw you guys at the river a couple days back. I saw you, too. I mean, I saw you guys. Carl, I just said I'm not in the mood. Carl shrugs. Just saying, I already know. It's cool. I keep quiet, hoping that that will get Carl to drop this stupid subject already. It doesn't work. But I get why you gotta keep it from Leo like this. I pull my phone out to see if I've gotten a text from Leo yet. I haven't. Me and Leo, we don't hang out all that much. Though I think he tries to. He talks about you a lot. I try to ignore the guilt that's steadily building up inside me. Did you smoke today? Because you're being real talkative right now. I only ask because I don't smell it. Usually it's pretty strong. Actually, I had an edible this morning. Carl giggles for a good long while after that. Oh, really? I massage my brow with a thumb and forefinger. Normally I get along great with Carl, especially when he's high. But after this morning, basically everything is getting on my nerves. I usually hate that shit, but I don't know. Guess I was just bored today. This thing shoot me into fucking space. Guess that explains why he won't shut up. Hey, am I pissing you off? I immediately regret what I said as Carl puts a game on pause. No, just had a stressful morning. With Leo. Carl starts the game back up, giggling again as he says he shoots a space marine in the face. Finally a text from Leo. Good to know. Another one immediately follows. Let's hang out sometime soon. But you know, Flynn cares about you too. Yeah? I text Leo a quick affirmative, though I'm not really sure when that hangout is going to happen. Yeah, I wouldn't stop talking about you when we drove to the reservation. Really? That actually did seem really out of the ordinary. What the hell will Flynn have to say about me? Carl shrugs. Bunch of stuff. He wanted to buy you something from the reservation, but that might be too weird. Flynn buying me a gift? That is kind of weird. For Flynn, I mean. I thought it was kind of cute. What else did he say? Carl seems to think hard while he continues to shoot guys on the screen. He twists the controller this way and that, bumping into my shoulder each time. Said you seem to have grown up a lot, that you were way different than you were as a teenager. Yeah, really cute. Carl's tone seems slightly annoyed there, but don't really care enough to ask about it. By the way, how's your project going? Being reminded that I have an entire project to do doesn't ease the knot that's formed in my stomach. Not that great. Still need a film and need a lot of film and research. What kind of research? Stuff about Echo.
Like history stuff?
Yep. Carl plays a while longer, then sets down his controller.
You know, Flynn is like the records holder, right?
The clerk, yeah. I already know what Carl's getting at, and honestly, I want to kick myself for not thinking of it first place. It's also interesting that he's not bringing up the stuff in the crawl space. Carl turns to me, a loopy grin on his face. Those edibles really do fuck with him.
So let's go get some records from him.
Well, yeah, we should, but I don't even know what to get.
Don't worry about it, dude. I go down there to shoot the shit with him all the time. We can ask him.
Things aren't exactly cool between Flynn and I right now, but something to do. I'm so behind on my project at this point, I don't have any excuses. Oh, Jesus, fuck. We pull into the gravel parking lot in front of City Hall. Jesus. Jesus fucking Christ. The stucco structure looks a hell of a lot more weathered than I remember it. The tarps drape off the roof, and one of the windows is blacked out with plastic. City Hall is probably the oldest building still standing in Echo. From what I read on the county's website, it served as the town's post office back in the early 20th century. Before then, it was an outpost used as an intelligence operations center during the years leading up to the Mormon Rebellion. The Mormons are coming! Good God! Hide your underwear, and all of your wives. Government spies were planted in the nearby settlements from Colville to Peyton, and delivered their reports of potential agitators at this outpost. They actually kept a priest on hand to help reaffirm the spies' faith in the true word of Christ. It's weird to think that Sydney was the last Mormon I knew. Are you sure Flynn works here? I exit my car, watching Carl stare ahead. His eyes are half-lidded, the ram seeming to stare for miles beyond the building in front of us.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Alright. Carl didn't move. Are you gonna come out? The ram blinks slowly, his maw starting to hang agape. He shifts his bloodshot gaze towards my torso.
Nah, my parents would flip.
He flops his wrist in front of him limply, his tone tinged with effeminacy. Effeminacy! Oh, okay. Of the car.
Yeah, just give me a sec.
Oh, I get the joke, you fucking loon. Sheesh. Carl reaches down, unscrewing the lid from his water bottle and taking a few hearty glugs. When Carl grabs the door's handle, he hesitates. After a moment, he looks at me. He's completely silent, sucking on his cheek on the one side. Carl. Finally, he speaks.
I sort of agreed to come without considering that I'd be talking to anyone but you and crew today. Let alone the mayor and stuff. I'm still stoned as balls and I look like shit.
He laughed some in a self-deprecating fashion, visibly sheepish despite the THC still flowing through him.
I think I might just chill here in your car with the AC and high gun tactics.
He holds up his phone, and I think I can just barely spot the icon for it in a sea of his other game apps. Carl does look high, though he doesn't appear any worse than he usually looks. Telling him that probably wouldn't do much for his confidence, though. Let me know. What you want me to do? I wanna know what you wanted me to do. I gotta know. Tell me what to do. Reassure him, let him stay in the car. Let me know. I wanna know. Please, just tell me so I could go do fucking with the Flynn dude. Let him stay, reassure him, let him stay. Everyone's saying let him stay except Grigorg. Let him stay. Fucking hell, Carl, just stay in the car. It's probably a good idea, all things considered. You're gonna be alright in here. I mean, if you start to sober up, feel free to come get me. I could always use a hand.
I'm good, man.
He scoots back in the car seat some, leaning it back.
You got me way too up early to be hanging out proper like anyhow. I'm usually asleep until 3 hours from now.
You really sleep until 2 o'clock? What the fuck does that mean, motherfucker? You get up to my goddamn lifestyle?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Hey, don't judge me. You're the interloper here.
I'm about to make a jab about where Carl learned that word, that large, but reading his expression, it's evident he isn't in the mood. Oh, Honestly, neither am I. I toss him the car keys, and they bounce gently off the rotund bulk of his torso before he scoops them up off the floor mat. I'm gonna head inside and ask permission to film, then maybe go through some files inside if they let me. Carl grunts.
They should. It's all like public record or something. Except for the aliens that crashed here in the 40s. That's still classified, Agent Hunter.
A pang of nostalgia shoots through me as I catch on to what Carl's referencing, a faint smirk tugging at the corner of his lip. When we were little, Carl and I used to run around in old church clothes and pretend to be G-men hunting for aliens. Aw, Agent H, Agent Hendricks, and Agent Hunter. Our parents got pissed at us for playing in the dirt and black formal wear, but we were super into it. Carl even drew up a zine, sort of documenting the make-believe adventures. Eventually, Carl started getting really into superhero stuff and tried to segue our adventures into the Superwolf universe. I didn't like Superwolf at all, and after an argument where I called him too fat to be a superhero... Oh, motherfucker! Ended our imaginary adventures. God, I was such a dick. Before I can say anything further, Carl's setting his phone aside and popping over my glove box.
Do you still have those black sunglasses?
Yeah, oh man, no. Leo said he liked them, so I gave the pair I had to him. I do have a tortoise pair shower in here somewhere.
Isn't that kind of girly?
Carl gives me a sidelong look as he withdraws the aforementioned pair, holding them up to me. Well, guys can wear tortoise shell. It's not like they're polka dot or something.
My mom wears these colored sunglasses all the time. I literally can't see these without picturing her.
Well, like, that's your personal thing. No one else thinks that. He slides them onto his face. They rest somewhat awkwardly on his sizable snout, unable to settle in place neatly. Your nose is too big. Carl pulls the shades off his face and limply tosses them into the in the dash, leaning back into his seat with a long exhale.
Alright, well, do your thing. I'll be here.
Alright, be back soon, Carl.
Yep.
I turn, heading inside. Oh, Jesus. Look at this fucking... Oh, God. Stepping into City Hall, the first thing I notice is how dry the air feels. Like there's no ventilation to speak of. Makes me feel like I'm standing inside a really slow baking oven. Half of me wants to run out and jump into the first body of water I can find, while the other half just wants to curl up into a ball and nap. The faint droning of a voice into a speaker is audible. It sounds like some sort of outdoorsy hunting and fishing podcast.
Chase?
Flynn's tall, leering form emerges from one of the doorways, a stack of envelopes in hand. We stare at each other for a few seconds as the reality of what we've done with one another is hanging pretty poignantly in the air. Hey. He exhales, his demeanor shifting. He raised his shoulders, going more lax, and his tail settles on the musty, carpeted floor.
What?
He looks back through one of the doorways beside him, then back to me, his scaled brow furrowed. For a moment, my mind blanks, and I'm not sure what to do with my paws. It's really stuffy in here. Flynn looks at me questioningly.
The only people who work here are reptiles, so we keep the habitat.
Oh, habitat. His gaze shifts back to the doorway again before returning to me.
There's something you want? I'm pretty busy.
I clear my throat, crossing my arms over my chest. Yeah, I was kind of hoping I could get permission to film around City Hall and take a look at some records.
What records are you looking to go through?
Well, I don't know. Flynn stares at me with an indiscernible expression. I'm just looking for anything I can use in my report.
So you don't have parcel number or a date or anything? You just want to, what, browse?
Well, maybe you could point me in the right direction. You're the city clerk, after all. Flynn lets out a raspy exhale, moving to take a seat in his swivel chair at the front desk, his tail coiling around the base.
Alright, the reading room is off limits on account of that monsoon season took out a portion of its roof cover last year. I can set you up in the mail room with the microfiche and a computer for the time being.
He grasped the edge of his desk, staring at the tips of his fingers.
I need to check with the mayor to see what all you've got access to.
Flynn's about to stand up again when another Gila steps into the room. She's slightly overweight and decked out in khaki shorts with a matching outdoorsy button up top. Despite being indoors, she dons a large sun hat, also khaki, with a vibrant floral bandana around her neck. This must be the mayor, Flynn's aunt. I thought I heard another voice in here! What the fuck was that? I catch wind of her perfume, a strong, sweet pea scent that seems to fill the room. Her slitted blue-green eyes focusing on me. It's almost like she's sizing me up. Are you from the grant committee? Jesus. I pause, quickly shake my head. No, sorry. She visibly seems to deflate, her brow lowering and her eyelids drooping to a half-lidded lull. Ah, I'm Chase, Flynn's friend. That's so? Another one, then? She looks over towards Flynn, who's currently rubbing his temple. He responds quickly. An old friend, childhood. You've met Chase before, I'm pretty sure, or at least seen him around town. She seems to think for a moment before a look of realization comes to her. Oh, I almost didn't recognize you with that thing on your chin. I most certainly remember you. Fuck me, man. I blink, reaching up and covering my goatee instinctively. You were the one who was always palling around with that red wolf fella, Leo, weren't you? Gay couple, right? I chuckle, a bit sheepishly, nodding. Having spent the past 3 years in Pueblo, I'm not as used to people talking about me like this as I once was. Yeah, sort of. I mean, yes. She exchanges a glance with Flynn, who's looking a bit tense. Chase is doing a school project on the town and wants access to the records we've got on hand. He fill out a request form yet? No, he just wants to browse, I guess. Well, it's only public record stuff that I want to take a look at. You still have to go through the process. Usually the requests are just for a parcel at a time. What sort of school project is this for, Chase? Well, I'm a journalism major at the University of Pueblo. I have to create a documentary-style video report on something. I chose Echo. Oh, you aren't aiming to smear us to the general public, then, are you? Her tone suggests she's dying, or no, joking, sorry. But she has that same intense look that Flynn has where I can't really tell for sure. No, Mayor. You know, we have a grant application that we were interested in putting right out there that requires a video entry detailing the sights around town. Would you be interested in that sort of thing? Oh, well, maybe. I don't know. I guess I'd have to know more about the project. Honestly, I can't imagine the sheer amount of sugarcoating I'd need to muster to create a positive report about the place.
Fill this out.
Flynn is pushing a form across the desk my way. The mayor clears her throat. Chase, where it asks for a lot parcel request, you could just put all inventory. Alright, will do. As I take a pen from Flynn and begin to write, I see him looking up at his aunt.
All inventory?
Yes!
Alright then.
He huffs some idly. The podcasters on Flynn's computer speakers are going into detail about creating complex fish nets and trappings. I'll leave you two boys to it then. Welcome back to Echo, Chase! It's good to be back, you fucking psycho. Flynn subtly rolls his eyes, turning back to his computer. The mayor just smiles before heading back to what I assume is her office. I finish up the form in silence, pushing it back towards Flynn. He squints at it for a moment before speaking.
Any word from Leo?
The topic change catches me off guard. I look up to see Flynn leaning in close, his voice lowered. Yeah, he believes the whole spending the night at Carl's story.
Carl went along with it?
I ended up telling him the whole truth, though. Guess he started feeling real shit about all this lying. Flynn leans back in his chair suddenly, clenching his eyes shut tight. He opens his mouth like he's going to say something, but merely shakes his head. Chase, you fucking realize that when this week is over, you just get to go back to college land, and I'm stuck here with the results of all your shitty choices. You know Carl as well as I do. He wouldn't go telling Leo to start drama. Anyway, he saw us, by your truck. Flynn's eyes open, and he just stares at the ceiling for a long moment. Fuck it! Let's get your musky ass set up with a goddamn country guest login so you can access all GIS maps. He scoots back over towards his computer before beginning to type something in. Catch a glimpse of his desktop wallpaper. It looks like some sort of waterfall surrounded by a lush evergreen forest. It's kind of blurry, like a smaller image stretched to fit the screen size. Also see a few transparent stock image logos overlaid on top. We got physical records, real old ones, stored in the mailroom, though. Though I wouldn't say the shit there is very browsable. Some religious historical society types come by 8 months ago and helped us archive a lot of it. They're all in the labeled manila folders along the south wall. Flynn turns back to the computer, pecking at the keyboard. For a clerk, he's not remotely a fast typer. Damn, I forgot to ask for permission to film here. Flynn grunts. Permission granted, go do that while I get this fucking thing working. Glancing back at the screen, I see incorrect password, 2 remaining entries before lockout flash up. I'm looking at his keyboard. It takes me only a couple seconds to figure out what's wrong. Flynn. What? He snaps at me, and I can see pointed teeth between his scaled lips for a moment. You have the caps lock on. Flynn pounds the caps lock key with some extra force before returning back to his typing. Thanks, now fuck off for a bit. I stare at him and I can't help but feel a twisting sensation in my chest. I'm not sure if I expected him to treat me differently after doing what we did, but I definitely didn't think he'd treat me worse. I try to think up something to say to make this right, to make this not awkward as it seems to be getting. Yet the longer I sit here, the more uncomfortable he seems to get. Guess I'm literally leering at him like a creep right now. Fuck. Get up and head out, deciding keeping my mouth shut is the best course of action for the time being. The gravel parking lot makes it difficult to adequately line up my shot. Everything ends up being slightly crooked. I know I could probably fix it all in post, but that's more work for me that I'm not looking forward to. Carl, meanwhile, has his eyes glued to his phone. It looks like he found a pair of earbuds, because he's got those in too. Refocusing, I take stock of footage I've got from here so far. The midday sun means that all my recordings are pretty much well lit, but I can't help but think that a sunset would be more symbolic. Maybe I'll come back later, I don't know. My phone vibrates in my shorts. Grabbing it, I see I got a new message from Leo. With Jen and TJ playing football. I'm assuming he means soccer, but I decide now isn't the time to press him on word choice. Sounds fun, filming with Carl and Flynn here. I slide my phone in my pocket, unlocking the trunk of my car where I can start putting away all this equipment. Oh shit, quick response for someone playing soccer. Upon checking my phone though, the message turns out to be from Carl. Get back to work, no texting. Look around to the trunk to see Carl's smirking muzzle, his chin buried in his hoodie. Stepping back behind the trunk, I begin to text back. Sarcasm all the way? Alright, we'll go with number 1. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. After hitting send, I set my phone down, beginning to lock up the camera and a neon orange University of Pueblo hard case I borrowed. Another message from Carl. That's, oh, I'm sorry, Daddy, to you, boy. Jesus Christ. Snickering, I text back. Don't play gay chicken with me, I will win. I finish packing up everything and shut the trunk, waiting for the next response. As if on cue, my phone vibrates once again. I also realize now that Flynn is standing in the city hall entryway with his arms crossed, staring furrow-browed at the door. God, the car. Why the fuck is Carl here just sitting in the car? I'm gonna go hold up my finger to him, look over the recent message. I don't like chicken, I like quark, boy! I snark, eliciting a raised eyebrow from the Gila. The hell you two doing? I got your shit set up. You will not win this game, sir.
Daddy, I told you, boy, don't make me
Spank you. Oh, he's fucking stoned off his rocker, ain't he? He ate too much of an edible this morning, apparently. Flynn looks to me, then back to Carl.
Probably for the best he's staying in the car, then. Come on.
He turns, heading back inside. I follow, watching Carl smiling to himself inside my car while going back to his mobile game. Flynn leads me back to the net. God, this fucking... That backboard is fucking with me. Flynn leads me... God, this is the longest fucking episode ever. Flynn leads me through the narrow hallways, the ceiling laden with visible old piping and the walls covered in dents and scratches. Eventually we turn into a colorful room that looks like a mix between an old post office and a kindergarten classroom.
Alright, like I said, archive files are in the back along the south wall. The computer in the corner is logged into the city county's GIS viewer, maps and shit, basically. He points to a cream-colored computer that must be from around the early 2000s by the look of the make. Dust visible on the top of the tower. So like where the native burial grounds and sort of thing are. Flynn crosses his arms, looking back down at me. Yeah, no. As far as I know, the Meseta tribal government hasn't put forth any sacred site claims within miles of Echo.
Wow, really?
Really.
Why's that?
I don't have a whiff of shit's worth. I don't have a whiff of shit's worth of a clue. Or care. That is a hell of a sentence. Go ask Jen if you want to be all weird about it.
I don't think she has much ties to her tribe.
Yeah, well, it doesn't stop her from being a bitch about it whenever she sees fit.
God damn. Flynn sucks on his cheek as if saying that left a bit of an unpleasant taste in his mouth. Flynn's speaking less than kindly towards folk isn't anything new, but not usually about Jenna. He looks down on some papers in his hand as if they're suddenly very interesting. Is this about what you said when you got Carl the lighter from the reservation? His lidded eyes flick up back at me, his lips thinned.
You thought that was bullshit too, right?
Well, I think she was just still in, I don't know, den mother mode when regards to TJ after what you did. If you want to get everyone talking again, you should just apologize. Oh, shit! Ooh, you would incur the wrath. There's a pause in the conversation as cloud cover shades the light coming in from the window.
It's not just about the lighter crap. She doesn't give a shit about me, and she really doesn't give a shit about Sydney.
I blink. I'm still amazed at how much his name is being mentioned after all these years of silence on the subject, especially from Flynn. He catches my expression and grunts, the Gila resting the side of his hip against the sorting counter.
When he died, all she fussed about was how it affected TJ. Shit, Sid could rot for all she cared.
It's not fair. We were kids, and people react to that sort of traumatic stuff differently. Maybe helping TJ was what kept her occupied.
Oh, yeah? Remember a few months before it happened when Sid's dad went missing and all she did was try to shield TJ from all the negativity of the situation?
She tried to help, but he was different. I don't know, fuck. We were just kids.
No, she fucking hated Sydney. Carl hated Sydney. Leo hated Sydney. TJ would never fucking admit it, but he hated Sydney. And you hated Sydney.
He looks me in the eyes now. I'm quiet for a moment, trying to think of what to say. Flynn, meanwhile, just looks expectant, seemingly waiting for me to blanch and try to defend myself. Sydney was an asshole. He raises his chin some, his crossed arms seeming to squeeze more tightly over his chest.
Yeah? So am I.
No, not like him.
Nobody knew him like I did.
You've said that, but that doesn't mean the crap he pulled on us on TJ or was any way justified. I'm pretty sure he genuinely enjoyed watching people get hurt. Flynn stares slack-jawed before quickly gritting his teeth.
He liked wrestling. He liked pirates. He liked pulpy adventure shit, but he did not like hurting people. TJ cried every day no matter what. He could see a dead fly on a windowsill and start bawling. And you all would drop everything and come rushing to his aid, scorning the shit out of anybody who didn't.
We couldn't make jokes, we couldn't tease each other, we couldn't roughhouse, and we couldn't even fucking swear without TJ getting upset. It isn't like we could just go hang out with someone else. This is Echo, and Leo is fucking dead set on keeping this group together. Though now the group for Leo essentially consists of 2 members, your ass and his cock. Korg, sorry. I frowned deeply before I can interject. He continues. When Sydney died, you all convinced yourselves he was this fucking monster kid so that it didn't have to hurt as much. I ain't gonna apologize. Fucking hell, they should. Flynn uncrossed his arms, staring out of the sole window of the cramped mailroom. Damn. The cloud cover lifts. I'll be at the front desk. If you take something, always put it back where you found it. He turns, making his way back down the narrow hall. I'm left alone. Everything feels really quiet now. A sort of weird solace amidst the shelves upon shelves of Echo's history. I rub my face and muzzle, spinning a whisker as the previous conversation plays back in my head and begins to fade like a passing dream. With a slow exhale, I turn and head over to the archives. They all seem to be categorized by numbers. Those, for example. I grab a random file off the shelf. That one. Flipping it open, I see a cluster of 15 or so papers and permits for a place called Adelaide's Thrift and Pawn. Sounds familiar, but it only takes me a bit more pursuing to figure out why. Near the exit from Route 93 to Flint Road, there's this faded old shack of rotten wood. Growing up, all that was left of the significant was Adelaide's Thrift. I think it's bulldozed now, since I didn't see it on the drive-in. According to these documents, Adelaide Vondenberg applied for and successfully obtained a business license and deed to the property in 1979. I'm guessing these folders correspond to a piece of property with an echo, or a parcel. That helps some, but I still am not sure exactly where to look. I put the file away and move over towards the computer Flynn already got ready for me. The screen displays an aerial photograph of Echo with little polygons drawn over it like a bizarre checkerboard. Clicking on one, nothing happens. Click again, the pointer turns into an hourglass. The program says that it's not responding. Damn it. As the hourglass rolls on the screen, I can hear the front door open down the hall. First I wonder if it's Carl, but then a voice speaks that I don't recognize, then Flynn's. I can only make out a little of what he says. That's what they told you about the county office? You could have come here. The hourglass spins. The unincorporation, it shouldn't affect developers who... A little window pops up, listing owner, address, parcel number, links to building plans, and other fields. Slow as hell, but it actually is kind of neat, I guess. Curious, I scroll over the location of my old house, and click. This time it reacts a little faster. The complaint forms are physical, not much of an online presence, and it's currently listed as abandoned and condemned. It looks like the property my parents sold it to... It looks like the people that my parents sold it to ditched it rather quickly. I move back toward the archive, picking up my old house's corresponding file and setting it down on the counter. Opening it, I see a weathered floor plan of my old house dating back to 1986. Nothing here could remotely be considered of interest for my project, however, I put the file back where I found it. As I hear the increasingly quiet rasp of Flynn's voice in the other room, I realize he's probably too busy to hold my hand with regards to where I look. Especially after the previous conversation, it might be best to just give him some space. I stare at the aerial display on the computer monitor, trying to figure out where to start looking. The mine, the abandoned school, city hall, or Carl's mansion. The mine. Something about the old mine that feels off to me. Unlike pretty much every locale in Echo, the mine was the only place we absolutely did not play. Sydney tried to make one of our scavenger hunt objectives down in there once, but TJ told his mom about it, and that was the end of that. After looking up the parcel number, I retrieved the corresponding file and lay it out on the mail counter. This one has an archival notice attached to the front. I guess my hunch might be right. Opening the file, the first thing I note is that there's a seriously large amount of documents here, and even a laminated old photo. Look at our fucking paw. It's a hell of a lot more verdant than it is these days. Must have something to do with the damming they did up north in 1950. I'm guessing the CM 1915 is referring to the year the photo was taken. Within the folder itself, many of the documents seem to be legal in nature, including documentation about a lawsuit of some sort. The ones on top seem to relate to that tourism program Echo tried a decade ago. There's a few papers about a historical heritage grant and the installation of a bench and 2 lamps outside the mine's entrance. There's even reference to a large placard installed into the side of the rock face outside, but I don't remember ever seeing that. Following this, there's another folder within that contains some condemned notices and squatter evictions dating from 1970 to 1975. Said folder also notes a work order for the installation of rebar bars in the mine front to prevent entry in 1976. Next, there's the actual lawsuit documentation itself, which looks like is what killed the mine back in 1945. The working conditions were abysmal, and the owners of the mine were also heavily involved in town government, so there were corruption charges. The Danica Mine, also known as CSCG, Copper, Silver, Coal, Gold Mine, that's a lot of shit to find in one mine, holy shit, was the most in-demand employer in the northern portion of this state for decades. This was in little part due to management by the owners, but rather the natural conditions of the mine itself. The structure of the bedrock kept cave-ins unlikely, and its chemical composition kept the temperature stable and somewhat bearable. Flooding was a minor concern due to the low water table of the region. In other mines within the state, miners may have been expected to stand in 2 feet of dirty water in 40-degree temperatures. All the while, with the looming threat of a cave-in being a very real threat, amplified with every strike of the sledgehammer. Yet even still, the mine managed to have one of the highest casualty rates... What? Oh, damn. Yet even still, the mine managed to have one of the highest casualty rates for its workers in all the Southwest. The suit argues that this was at root due to severe negligence by the owner, Gregory Briggs. Miners were required to buy their own tools, including candles, sledges, picks, stakes, and even dynamite. Their wages, however, were of such little amount that many miners must have been forced to choose between having these tools or their family being able to eat that week. Many chose the latter, as most men who moved to Echo did so with the explicit purpose of being able to provide for said families. Briggs operated the mine under constant fear of worker and unionization. To assuage this, he hired an incredibly nationally diverse assortment of workers. His rationale, though denied in court, was to ensure that no group of workers spoke the same language, thus reducing the chance of collaboration for better working conditions or wages. His preventative action was particularly heinous due to the nature of the work itself. Communication was crucial, especially in the low light conditions in the lower depths. Despite the language barrier, miners were expected to coordinate dangerous group mining procedures. For example, for standard ore extraction, one miner would hold a spike to the mine wall while another miner swung the sledge toward the spike. With light sources being scarce, that meant the risk of striking another miner with a sledge was a constant risk and something that occurred with some frequency. Many miners were crippled from blows to the paws or arms, and then once fired, were unable to support their families. This led to several notable starvation incidents within the town itself. The lawsuit documents also includes reference to a brief hysteria in 1915, where a grisly murder took place within the mines itself. I make sure to write summaries of all this information down on a blank sheet of printer paper before putting everything back. It's this sort of crap that makes me glad I live in the years I do now. I don't think I'd make a very good miner. Carl's mansion. I know enough about Carl's family to know that his house is seriously old. His great-great something or another is the town founder, after all. The place had been seriously modernized into a more stucco adobe style, but there's some history underneath all of that. Growing up, Carl overheard all this and started thinking of the place was haunted. It freaked him out pretty badly. So much so, his parents basically begged me to have sleepovers with him during the weekends and even some weekdays. Not that I minded, of course. Carl had all the video game consoles that were out, and his parents bought him M-rated games. I got to stay up late with his giant TV, blowing up aliens, running over hookers. I remember he started to become less afraid as time went on, and his parents stopped asking me to come over as much. So, of course, shitbag younger me told Carl a bunch of stories about a ghost bride who I saw standing outside his house at midnight. And that's how I got to spend my whole 5th grade summer vacation living at Carl's place. After looking up the parcel number, I retrieved the corresponding file and laid it all on the mail counter. This one has an archival notice attached to the front. That's pretty surprising on account that it's a residential lot. Opening the folder, a photo placed in front of all the documents immediately catches my attention. Oh, this was the buff boy you were talking about. Wow. A part of my mind immediately flashes back to Leo, but even he wasn't anywhere close to being this defined. It's like that, wow. I guess life in early 20th century will do that for you. I guess you should probably read the caption note for this one was attached. Sheriff William Adler arrests after surviving the partial collapse of the Hendricks Castle. The Hendricks Castle? Below the note are some rather old rudimentary building plans crumbling at the edges. The penmanship was all weird cursive. I can't read it. It does look a little bit like Carl's house, but much, much larger. What follows are a series of dead transfers from various members of the Hendricks family and eventually more modern building plans. There's even a cutout from a magazine, Southwestern Modern, which shows off the kitchen space back when it was first redesigned. And there's something wedged in the back, a beige piece of paper that doesn't look like it has anything else in here. Oh, shit. The fuck? Oh, it's getting dark again. Teeth of these mountains. Shettin. After the sun's crescendo, cool air after a long fever, the protective walls of darkness, after the phantoms and migraines of too much light in space, suddenly a cacophony of new muzzles wailing in torment for the moon to rise and rescue them from hell. And a huge tarantula hauls herself over the threshold in search of love, in search of a small mate who will not survive the violence of her embrace. What the fuck? Flip over the poem and set it on the counter. On the other side is a notice of death for a reference in estate transfer. It's for James Hendricks, who passed away in 1913. The cause of death is listed as poison/infection insect. This is pretty unsettling. I didn't think tarantulas were poisonous. I mean, I know they aren't because I fear searched that information online one night after seeing one on my back porch at 3 a.m. I guess that poem was some sort of informal epitaph for this guy. Regardless, it was a shitty way to die. Slide the poem Death Notice back into the folder and make note of it for the project. I think that's all for this parcel, so I place the folder back in its slot on the south wall. After finding the parcel number for the GIS thing, I can't seem to find the corresponding file for the abandoned school. It's like it doesn't exist in any records here. Or it might just be misplaced. I'm going to go with the second theory. Maybe I'll ask Flynn about it later. City Hall has a lot of history. I assume most of the really old stuff isn't on file, but I'd be curious to see what's there regardless. After looking up the parcel number, I retrieve the corresponding file and lay it on the mail counter. This one has an archival notice attached to the front. That's good. Hopefully that means there's some supplemental information in here. Unfortunately, upon opening the file, I see there aren't many documents in here. There is, however, a marked photo of some sort of wedged between the folder edges. Oh, Jesus. Whoa. That really is the date of origin on the top right corner. This photo of the guy is taken 100 years ago. Look back down at the folder, finding a caption note for the image. Sheriff William Adler left and Wendleysdale researcher Cliff Tibbetts right at City Hall meeting to discuss Echo-Macedo tribe relations. Adler, that's Janice's last name. Must be a distant relative of hers. The rest of the documents in the folder just seems to consist mostly of proposed extensions to use changes for the building. A lot of them didn't pan out. There's a city government roster here, though, and it lists the historical election results for the town going back to the early 20th century. Surprisingly, Flynn and his aunt aren't the only Moors I see on this list. It looks like the Moore family has been involved in public office in some capacity as far back as 1914. Oh, God. Which is doubly surprising, noting the prejudice against reptilians that was pretty heavy back then. There's this whole negative stereotype about them being evil and controlling the government that persists even today. So it's pretty weird a family like the Moores managed to keep getting elected back when the ignorance levels were much higher. I'll make note to ask Flynn about that as sensitively as possible. I go ahead and put everything back in the folder before returning it to the shelf. So I suppose that's it for today. I turn around and see the mayor standing in the doorway. She's peering at me quizzically. I'm a little startled. I straighten up. Oh, hi, Mayor. Just finishing up. She's watching me speak, like staring at my mouth, not my eyes. It's honestly freaking me out a little. She didn't respond. Mayor? Make sure you put everything back where you found it. Oh, yeah, don't worry. I did that already. Did you now? She steps in the room and picks up a folder from the edge of the counter. I recognize that as the one from the abandoned mines. Okay. Sorry, forgot about that one. She stands there with the folder held out, waiting for me. I quickly move and take the folder. I try to ignore the hard stare I feel on my back as I walk to the archive wall. Far left end, second cubby from the top. Oh, thank you. I didn't... Looks like Flynn's about ready to take off. You're gonna give him some company. The way she phrases that makes me reconsider a hasty response. Sure, I can hang out with him and his roommate. You have a boy in your car. I blink. I have a Carl in my car. Yes, he wanted to hang back while I did all the work. I feign a chuckle, though not very well. I've never been good at that smiling with your eyes thing. Carl Hendricks. Yes. Have a good rest of your evening, Chase. Thank you, Mayor. You too. She moves on down the hall. After a moment, I follow suit up to meet up with Flynn at the front desk. Weird ass motherfucker. To be continued. Holy shit. So that is the end of the Flynn route. That's also the end of Echo for now, because that's all the routes. We've gone through and checked for... I've played everything in this game, apart from the alternative paths. Thank you all very much for watching this. Thank you all for those who have been sticking around for the majority, even if you were here if you just showed up and I'm ending the stream on you. I'm sorry. But thank you all very much for joining me. I had a good time. I hope you did too. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I have been the Trained Up Professional, speaking for the voices in my head when I say, fare thee well. Bye, everyone! Yeah, have fun with my spaghetti!